In this video, I want to explain to you how to go from like 5 deals a year to 50 deals a year, how to become a top producer using the 5 things that are the most important you need as a real estate agent to actually scale your business and become a successful real estate agent. There's many agents that have joined me at EXP that are top producers, do 50, 70, even upwards of that deals per year as solo agents, and they all follow the same criteria in order to scale the business. And what you'll see is the agents that cap out at 10, 15, 20 deals per year all run into the same problems, and I want to make sure that you avoid them. If you don't know who I am, my name is Mike Sherrard. I train thousands of agents every single year on how to scale their business with social media, and I'm also at EXP with one of the fastest growing groups, the Wolfpack. Now, before we get started into this video, 76% of you that watch my content are not subscribed, so even if you never watch another video in your life of mine, please just subscribe because it actually really helps me, and it would make somebody's day. So if you also get value from this video, just drop one of these. It also helps as well. So let's get into the 5 things that you need in order to scale your real estate business. Now, the first one is the most important, and so is the last one. So the first one is, whether you want to call it SOPs, standard operating procedures, or systems and processes, these are by far the most important thing that you need in order to scale your business. And this is for everything. This is for, a lot of agents are hanging by a thread and they run their business where they're just going and going and going, trying to hang on for dear life and going through the trenches without knowing what they're actually doing. But what you'll see with top producers is they've got very defined, clear systems and processes or standard operating procedures for everything, whether it be buyers, how to service buyers from start to finish in terms of when you meet them, when you have the consultation, when you sign the documents, what you do on possession, what you do after presentation. You have sellers, what you do along this process as well. You have, as things start to get more intricate, you have things like nurturing. And this goes for 2 different things. This goes for lead gen and it goes for sphere. And this is a big one where I made a lot of mistakes as a beginning and a new real estate agent. Is I was again that agent flying by the seat of my pants, and I did not properly leverage my sphere. And what you'll see, I've got another video on this, is that if you properly leverage your sphere, on average, it can take 1 deal and turn it into 7 deals over the lifespan of your real estate career with each and every client. I didn't do that, so I missed out on all kinds of deals that I probably could have done. But that is what a lot of top producers focus on, is milking what they've already got. A lot of people are always chasing more, going and going and going. And what you'll see is a lot of the top agents are nurturing what they already have. However, they also have very clear and defined systems and processes for things like inbound and outbound marketing. So whether it be prospecting, lead generation, they know all of the numbers and they've got processes for each and everything that they do. This is the key, and this is why, again, it's so important. You see so many people that don't do this. It's why it's so important to leverage a CRM. If you don't have a CRM and you're not properly using it, you are losing a ton of money every single year. What you'll see is the majority of agents that are leveraging their sphere or their CRM properly are the ones making multiple 6 figures to 7 figures per year. And that's because, again, when you've got something that is clearly defined for birthday notifications, holiday notifications, online lead drip campaign follow-up, event notifications, you should live by your CRM. That is the big money maker, and that, unfortunately, is what most low producers are not leveraging. So if you want to start to scale your real estate business, you're going to have to go through this simple concept, and a lot of people struggle with this, which is slowing down to speed up. And what this is sometimes you have to take 2 steps back to take 10 steps forward. And what I mean by that is, let's look at a restaurant, for example. How does a restaurant scale to the next level? Well, what they do is they shut down for a couple of months, do their renovations, then what they do is they open back up, and then their business is booming. They overhaul the menu or whatever they want to do. But again, you have to realize is they shut down for 2 months. Don't you think they felt the pain of not having any business for those 2 months? But what happens is, if they kept going at the rate that they previously were going, they might have a linear growth and then they hit a plateau and they kind of taper off. Whereas if you look at what they do when they go and they've got linear growth, then they plateau and they stop because they're doing the renovations, and then it skyrockets. And that's what you want, is the money is made in this point right here. But a lot of agents really struggle with slowing down because they just want to go, 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 work 20 hours a day because it makes them feel like they're being productive. But if you're not being productive with the right things, your business is never going to scale. So now let's look at the second point over here, which is point number 2, and that's lead gen. Okay, so what you'll see with a lot of top producers, or every top producer, is they've got predictable inbound leads and they have predictable paid leads. So when you're starting to look at how you can scale your business, you need to run by the numbers, but you need to have something that's predictable, that works for you, that you can do consistently over time. And that's why when you start looking at, how I was doing my marketing when I was focusing on production, is I had Facebook ads going with top, middle, and bottom of funnel. I had Google ads running, which were bringing in, I'll actually get to that in a second. I had Instagram running, I had door knocking, I had cold calling, and I also had referrals. So what you'll see is I diversified my marketing so that I could build it in a more predictable way. Whereas I knew, Facebook was a bit colder, but I could get sheer volume of leads. Google was warmer, but it was less leads and costed more. Instagram was something that was exponential and built my personal brand, same as YouTube. And then door knocking and cold calling were something they could actively do. And referrals are going to be the key to exponential success, because again, the ROI on that is massive because you don't have to pay for it. Now, what you'll see top producers do is they try everything like I did in the beginning, as you can see here. And then what they do is they niche down and they start to look at the data and say, okay, where is my biggest ROI? How can I double down on that? Have an active presence on some of these other ones just to maintain awareness, but really double down on the ones that are proven to work for me, my style, my business. And that is what a lot of top producers do, is they focus on looking at the numbers, looking at the data, and say, where's my highest percent of conversion, and where are we getting the majority of our closed deals, not our leads from? And once you start focusing on what's bringing in the dollars, that's when you can start making adjustments as to where you should be putting your budget. Now, another thing, because I own a branding agency called High Converting Content, where we do branding for a lot of teams, solo agents, brokerages, the whole 9 yards. But what you'll see is a lot of top producers, or all of them, have a very strong top of mind personal brand or team brand. And this goes for a couple things, which is recognition, goes for top of mind, and it also is a differentiating factor, because there has to be some sort of element of uniqueness in order to stand out in the crowd. Because again, you'll see there's thousands of agents in every single market, and any of the teams that are thriving, or the solo agents that are thriving, they are building a very scalable business because they have something that makes them very unique. A lot of people will call this like a unique value proposition, a UVP, or a unique selling proposition that makes them stand out, and they are consistent with delivering this message. And that's the key thing that I want you to understand here. They are properly leveraging content marketing, which is different than paid marketing, in order to continue to build their brand. So content marketing is free, right? So you don't have to pay for this. This is things like YouTube, this is things like Instagram, TikTok, and these are things that constantly build brand awareness. Now, you can use paid strategies for building your personal brand, which is things like Facebook ads, retargeting, stuff like that. But what you'll see is a lot of top producers spend a lot of time building their brand, because the more people who know you, the more people you're going to be able to work with. Now let's look at point number 4, which is schedule. Not going to spend a lot of time on this because I want to get to the last one. But when you look at, again, top producers, they all live by a very strict schedule. They have something in place where they work in specific hours. Because here's a concept that I want you to understand. Time is the most precious commodity out there. And what increases the value of time? Something called scarcity. And if you don't value your time, nobody else is going to value your time either. And what happens is when you look at low producers, they are running around doing anything and everything for anybody at all times, whether it be, 6 a.m. or 11 p.m. They're answering the phone 24/7. They have no criteria as to when they're working. They work at all times, and if they want to go show a property 30 minutes from now, they are there. And the problem with that is that you are not valuing your own time. Whereas when your time becomes scarce and people know that it's valuable, they treat your time more appropriately. And what happens there is you spend less time dealing with nonsense, and you actually increase your ROI on every transaction because you spend less time doing it. because people are respectful of your time. Just like when agents call me looking to join my group at EXP, they're very respectful of my time. They know, I'm extremely busy if they look at my calendar, so they don't waste it. And that's where my ROI or my ROTI, my return on time invested, drastically increases, same as production. This is the same thing, for example, is, let's say that you're going to go talk to a new agent, or you're going to talk to the top producer in your market. If you have an opportunity as a brand new agent to talk to another new agent, you're going to just banter around, waste their time, and, talk about whatever. If you have the opportunity to talk to a top producer, or somebody like Tony Robbins or somebody like that, that's an even better example, or Tom Ferry, or whoever, Ryan Serhant, right? Any of these big people, if you had an opportunity to talk to them, their time is scarce, it's valuable, you're going to treat it like gold. You want to treat your own time like gold, otherwise it's never actually going to get there. So now let's talk about the final point. Number 5 is the most important one, is they live by the data. And this is where a lot of low producers go wrong. Is what they do is they try everything, and then what they do is they see what they like or what is easiest or most enjoyable to them, and then they focus on that. But the problem is they're not looking at the data. And what you'll see is when you talk to any top producer, they know their percent of conversion for calls in terms of, how many leads they need to get an appointment, to get a closing. And they know all of their conversions in terms of, if they follow up with their sphere, how many times per year, how many referrals do they get, and how many closings. So when you start looking at a top producer, whether it be for nurturing, whether it be for marketing, whether it be for lead gen, anything, they live by the data. And this is something that you should be doing on an ongoing basis, because oftentimes agents are spending their time, right? A little clock here. They're spending their time on the wrong things. Whereas if they looked at the data and they had allocated that time into things that are proven to be the biggest ROI in their business, they would have a more successful business, because they could focus on what is proven to work, not what they think is the easiest and most enjoyable or works just based on assumption and not based on data. So those are the 5 things I constantly see top producers focusing on in order to scale their business every single year, increase their production, decrease their time involved to actually do more production as well. So if you have any other questions, just drop a comment below. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time.